second. I'm gonna do the official time.
We got 1 minute.
59.
Yeah, 59. Camera going? Okay,
You're a minute early.
that's right. Not now. Welcome to the March Air Reserve Base Aero Club. I'm Roger Mann, for those of you who don't know who I am, the safety officer, and Bob Pierce is the Aero Club manager sitting over there. And Cliff Schumann is our instructor, and he's a DPE too.
Well, not yet.
Not yet. Oh, gee, it'll take forever. Yeah, and let's see who. I don't see Randy, and I don't see.
You got John.
John. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about you, John. Yeah. John is back, incidentally, so he took a rest. Yeah.
Good to be back though.
Yes, yeah, I know. John, he went out and flew the other day, and he had a smile from ear to ear, you know. So, yeah.
You wanted to wait for a brand new air engine, that's what it was.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it really hurt.
Yeah, yeah. So 29 Foxtrot is almost back. It's got minor things that need to be done, like some lights are burned out and things like that. But otherwise, the plane it's probably the best sounding airplane out there. Cliff and John flew the thing to do the break-in for the cylinders, and wow, I mean, we thought it was some kind of like a Mooney or something out there. It sounded so good. It sounded
Very smooth.
It's very smooth. Yeah, yeah. You can give us a little report on that. Okay. All right. As usual, we do our little routine where we introduce new people and do that. And George Watson's here, so we can really get started now. All right.
He just celebrated an anniversary drinking mimosa. He must
Oh,
have
really?
survived because he's here.
Okay, any new people in the club that's hasn't been to a safety meeting, hasn't been introduced before? Anybody? There's some old people that have not been here for a while.
George, don't talk about you like that.
What'd you say?
Talk about old people.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Either old or not old.
Well, gee, okay. How about, anybody got a new pilot rating? How about somebody that's soloed for the first time?
Robert.
Stand up.
Although he had to work tonight, Ace Mendez, one of our new student pilots, passed his private pilot written with a 90. So we've had a 93 and a 90 the last two times, so people are doing really well.
Yeah, that's good.
Angel, he just got a RPA slot with Air Force ROTC.
Oh,
was it a few weeks ago?
okay.
Yeah, and Robert got a pilot's position with the Air Force. So three we've had, actually four with Kelly Terry Mossberg, who got a pilot position. We had two with 2 RPA slots and 2 with pilot positions.
So we're moving.
Yeah, Jasmine is the other.
Is the other one, yeah.
She's the other one that got
Yeah.
an RPA position.
Got an RPA position, yeah. So, man, you guys that are up and coming, get out there and do it. I just, I just had a guy come in today, he wanted me to do, he's going to be before the C-17 board in June, and he wanted me to do a little, recommendation letter for him, so, Bob and I are available for that. As long as you didn't cuss us out or anything like that, we'll write you a good one, so. All right. Man, we're doing good. Okay. Experiences. This is where you can talk about some things that are exciting that took place. And this doesn't have to be Aero Club. This can be any airplane that you've flown. Anywhere.
I got one.
Yeah.
I've sent it to a few people. I fly out of Compton with a gentleman helping him fly his T-34. I don't know if you saw in the news, a T-28 hit a Cessna 152 parallel runways there. Cessna landed right at dusk. The T-28 never saw him. One fatality. the instructor on the 172s out of Long Beach Flying Club, who had originally, when I started Little Airplanes again, that's where I went to learn to fly. He's in critical condition still in the burn unit. The student died. So he's in his 40s. We had a big meeting at the EAA hangar the next day, or this weekend. Really, for us, be careful. Keep your lights on. In the video, you don't see any strobe lights. It's tough to see at that time anyway. We do go to non-controlled fields here quite a bit, so we're a little bit more used to it. I'm sure those two, one was in an instruction event, the other one was not. We're not used to it. I'm sorry?
We're in the pattern that they get.
On the ground. Cessna landed, and the T-28 went right behind it and chewed it up. And if you watch the video, I don't encourage you to, but you'll see an explosion. There are people there filming it. Not the best thing for us in aviation, obviously. If you keep flying enough, you'll keep knowing people who pass away. I know many, as sure as everybody else does.
I'd say, one of the contributing factors is probably going to be the fact that it happened right at dusk, so both of the pilots were looking into the sun. For most of us that trained, we always, we use HIMMET a lot, and that's one of the things that we have with HIMMET, because, just at sunset, you've got that sun right in your eyes every time you're landing on 2-3, and it's hard to see things. And I think, like I said, the T-28 guy probably never saw that, that 152 in front of him because of that sun right in his face.
It's a tail dragger, isn't it? It's a tail wheel.
No.
The T-28? Is it a nose wheel?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nose wheel. But even though in this case I don't think it really mattered, even though it was the high wing, low wings scenario. But in this case, I think it was just never saw the guy. And I don't know if the 152 was talking.
Yeah, we don't know that.
Yeah.
According to the EAA, they talked to NTSB, and the president over there says we don't have comms on this. Nothing is that they can get just right yet. They're trying to get out to the public. If anybody had a radio and had comms on it, they don't know what happened. But they do know the T-28 had came into the pattern overhead, and they think the Cessna might have cut off, but thinking they had the right of way anyway, which they probably did. So, but I have no guess on this. I just know it's very dangerous in what we do. And I fly into the dusks all the time. Luckily, I go into a controlled field with towers telling me, but when you're not, really keep your lights on, keep your head about you. It's just a heart-wrenching event when you see it, that, an instructor who's got plenty of time, plenty of experience, well-thought person out at Long Beach Flying Club, and then the T-28 driver flying a complex airplane, knows that they should have had at least some experience sometime. It's just a sad thing for us. So I just wanted to put that out there. Go watch it. There is a morbid video. Try not to watch that one. Somebody just showed the body, and it's not something that I didn't even go and look at that one. But there is one where you'll see right when they hit. It's not a good thing. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's just a minor point of contention, one of my big hang-ups. A non-towered airport is not an uncontrolled airport. AIM gives you all kinds of procedures for going in and out of a non-towered airport, and it does us a disservice with the general public to call it an uncontrolled airport. That just gives them a very bad impression.
Yeah, thanks, Rich. Yeah, it's, be careful out there. Situational awareness is a biggie on these things. Okay, anybody else? Okay, we'll be talking to Bob. Bob will talking to us. And our subject tonight is I've got a headache. Okay, hey Bob, why don't we let Mr. Maramoto talk first? Let him do that way. And so, Mr. Maramoto,
Okay, you guys have been flying on the field for the past couple of weeks, and we noticed the construction changes. So we're well into the keel construction. We should be finished with that hopefully by early May, and then we'll shut off, likely shut off taxiway Charlie, and shut down runway 1230. Okay, and that should last about 4 or 5 months. Okay, so just be ready for that. This is some major construction that we need to do, so just be patient with that because you got to get to Taxiway Alpha and Taxiway Charlie. The pavement's pretty bad there, so like you can see on Taxiway Alpha when you go down by Charlie, south of Charlie, there's longitudinal cracking. That's because those pavement squares are way too big for the C-17 and they've been pretty much smashed. So, so we need to do that repair. So that phase, it goes until probably like September or October, and then we'll swing to a small area at that intersection where it turns by the fire department on Alpha, and that'll be the last of it. But that will cut off Taxiway Alpha. We'll get runway 123 back at that point. Okay, so just be patient with the construction. Pay attention out there because there are a lot of weird things going on in the airfield. We've got a lot of operations going on. This week is just absolutely crazy with, we got Record out there, we've got other transient aircraft, we got stuff going on at odd hours, so just watch your NOTAMs and just pay attention. Remember ORM, if you have anything that you have a question about, ask ATC or somebody and clarify that, okay? Just be safe out there. Yes, sir.
Is the plan to resurface 1230 or just the taxiway?
Just the taxiways.
They're going to use all the excess concrete.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think the theory right now is we're going to use it to failure, then it'll justify fixing it.
Now,
Is it going to mow 1230?
That's what the propeller is for.
Is there something we can talk to or any way to at least get somebody to spray for the weeds on 1230? I mean, there's so many weeds out there, it's actually starting to destroy the asphalt that's there.
Well, we've got other areas as well, and we're going to address that with Envoy and Airfield Management to get on that.
Because that would at least help preserve what we've got.
Sure. Yep. We'll take care of that. Any other concerns or questions? So just.
How long is McCoy going to be down here?
4 months.
Yeah, probably. They're supposed to leave early June, but we're thinking that if their construction goes over, which construction does usually go over, they'll probably be here through July. But I don't know. I could start a poll on that. Yeah, yeah, and then later on the line, there's some initial planning for some other operations. So the airfield's busy this year. Okay. Any other questions, comments? No. Just fly safe. Okay.
Thanks much.
In case you haven't noticed, for those of you who've been into the Aero Club, you've noticed that we've got a crowd of a cast of thousands outside our door in the back. That's Record. It's a 24/7 operation. They're there all the time. So that's where they got stuff that they give to the crew chiefs and all that. They also have a little tent next to our gate where they take their breaks. The crew chiefs take their breaks there. So it's they've been pretty nice, and actually some of them have inquired about the Aero Club. Some of them want to actually try to start some training, so it's kind of a good thing. If you ever get to talk to any of them or something like that, just, say, hey, have you gone in and visited the Aero Club yet? A lot of them will come in there and say, yeah, I've been meaning to come over here, and at the very least, we've been getting rights. We've had 2 or 3 of them so far, where Jason has taken up some of the guys up, and also one of the ladies in there that's she's the logistics or for the parts and stuff like that. And she works in that other section on the other side of the hangar, and she got a ride in the airplane. So, these guys have got 4 months down here in California where it's hot for them, and when the temperature was 28 degrees here a few weeks back, we were just like going, man, do you have any heat in here, and it was like they had to get these heaters, the aircraft heaters, and they got hoses laying around out there, but they're used to the cool weather anyhow out there in McCord, so, but they actually, some of them have stated that they love it down here, it's being this nice warm weather down here, so I asked the colonel in here, just before our meeting here, they were having a meeting in here, the C-17 pilots and the ground crew, and I asked the colonel, I said, has March been treating you well? And he says, oh yeah, March has been really treating them quite well. So I was glad to hear that. I was just afraid that they might try to treat them, you know, like, well, you're from another base, you know, because I have seen that happen. But no, I guess March is treating them pretty well, and they're happy, you know, although they would like to be home with their families, but, you know. So, you know, if you see them, you know, say hi and treat them well. They're down here away from home. Okay, Bob, you're next. Yeah, he went skiing today, so.
Yeah. I skied till my knees hurt so bad I had to quit. But it was sure fun. It was great skiing, early. Spring skiing almost. Let's talk a little bit about maintenance. You heard about 2.9, so we're breaking that in. There's a few things that Tony is going to work on starting tomorrow or Thursday for that. And then we'll put it back online. David, we didn't get any tires. They gotta come out of Illinois. So we'll take and order a new tire tomorrow, and it'll be delivered on Thursday, unless we go down and pick it up tomorrow. It all depends what Roger has to do. Pardon?
What's 2.9 got to do yet? He has to do it.
Well, the passenger door, you can't open it from the outside.
No, that's not true.
Yeah,
That's been fixed?
That was fixed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, keep me informed, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, skiing is great, but keep me informed. Okay. 15 Foxtrot. The engine, I understand, is being worked on right now at Oceanside. So when that comes back up, then we'll get that one installed. So I'm still looking at the middle of April for 15 Foxtrot, unless something comes up. The 182 is, we're trying to get that up. We got 2 magnetos. We got to put that on order and get those turned in for our cores, and we'll get the magnetos installed. That's the last major item for that. Do we get a out of cycle approval
Well,
yet?
he sent back the P card thing, and he didn't say anything.
Yeah, I'll have to
so
get
I
on the
don't
phone
know.
tomorrow, remind me. 234, I think David has fixed the issue with the lockup on the left brake. We've had a lot of discussion on it. We've kind of eliminated the shuttle valve, because once the shuttle valve moves back and locks off the rear cockpit, when you push on the brakes in the front, you're still holding pressure on the caliper. So he's did an R&R and a rebuild on the left brake cylinder, pedal cylinder. So we think that's going to be working. 555, we haven't got a chance on that one. Still think there's a possibility it could be magnetos, since we've been having this thing, and depending on how much time it is. I really think we need to take and get in and look at the unmetered and the metered fuel pressure for that engine, and we'll have to work on that one there. We just talked about the 182, we'll get that one going, and that's about it. Manual invoices. How many people know how to make out a manual invoice? Okay, just remember, it's the same thing that goes on your invoice in the computer, except that you have to write it in. So make sure that you copy down your tack times at start and your Hobbs times at start and finishing, because it's all manual, and then we have to put that back into the computer when the thing is up and running. Like last weekend, we had no power at the base for all. They were putting in a new number of power lines and service centers on the base, so it was kind of a lousy idea. I don't know whoever came up, but that was what takes place. It's a non-weekend. Ted, congratulations. I understand you are now a clearing official. Hey, so we got an extra one there. Anybody that's qualified? We need people for our clearing officials for the weekend. A lot of times you can just go fly. If there's an instructor with a student, you don't have to sign the release. So that's what we got. And hey, you guys are getting off early today. So that's all I have.
Yeah, on those manual things, whenever we do lose electricity, or the computer doesn't work or something like that, you can sign out the airplane manually if for some reason you can't do it through the computer. And on the back side of those old flight plans, you just do your little check mark on there, make sure you leave your name on it so we know who you are. the one thing that I noticed a lot of guys didn't do was that when you get back from your flight and you do the manual receipt and all that, attach that checklist to that. Everybody kind of left them laying on the table there, and I mean, that was okay, it's a lot, I found them all, but it's a lot easier just to attach them, you know, and everything would be all in one package. So, you guys did a good job of doing that for a lot of you, the first time you've done it that way. But it's pretty straightforward. I mean, all you're doing is that you're just bypassing the computer, that's all. But we do have to have some kind of written form or something to show, you know, because if you get out there and get violated by FAA or something happens and they want to look into it, there's, you know, you got it right there. Yeah, I already did this stuff. Here's my check mark and there's my, you know, my signature at the bottom. And if there's a clearing official, have him do the upper portion. And you do the center portion. So, but you guys did good. Okay, all right, tonight. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I thought maybe I've got, in case you guys don't know, I noticed that a lot of people don't know who the instructors are. John Law, who's our chief flight instructor, and then Jerry Rose, and Cliff Schumann, and Jason Rearick, and Randy Ball, who's the T-34 guy. And Jason does a lot of ground school stuff. He's, and, you know, even if you got your pilot's license, you know, you need a refresher. Ask Jason, he'll do it.
Yeah, and I was to say for Jason, he's the guy that's usually available in the evenings and then on the weekends. So for those that have a little more, you know, restricted schedule because you got full-time jobs or school, you know, Jason's the guy to talk to. He's got a little more flexibility in the evenings and weekends.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, any questions? Okay, let's get done. Okay, medications and flying, do they mix?
We'll have that airplane out of the hangar in a week.
That one right there? Okay, yeah.
We'll have an incident.
35, now you know that's our newest airplane.
It is.
Yeah, it's the newest one of our whole fleet.
Trouble is, they stole it blind for parts.
Yeah, pretty
They
much,
got it put
yeah.
back together.
It's also the one that we had an individual fly to New Mexico and was taxiing in super high winds and it went up on the left wing and prop strike. And that was an interesting situation. So that individual is no longer in the Aero Club, incidentally. So not that he kicked out. He didn't get kicked out. He left on his own. Just make sure we understand it. Okay, let's see. Now, I'm hoping the sound will work on this. That's right, we gotta move over here. We'll find out if the sound works. We'll find out if it works at all. Okay, it's not doing anything. Nope. Okay, we may not get to see it. Shoot, I don't know why it's not playing, because it was doing okay today. Oh. Okay. Huh. I don't know if I need to. Well, okay. I guess we're not going to get to see the videos on tonight. Oh well, I can't believe it. It works on my computer beautifully. Oh well. I wish Jason was here because he's a computer geek. I don't know why it's not working. Okay. Well, all right. That was a little thing. That was just a guy singing a song about meds. For those of you who saw this, I had this up here about 3 years ago, too. So maybe you remember it from then. It was kind of neat. That probably means we're not going to be able to see the rest of the videos either, for whatever reason. I don't know why it's not playing at all, as usual. Oh, well, okay. It's Sunday morning, it's the last day of a 3-day trip. You have 4 hours of flying ahead of you to get back home. But something about the air conditioner last night has left you with a stuffy nose and sinuses this morning. How many of you experienced that? No. You know from your training and experience that flying with congested upper airways is not a good thing. And that's true. Don't ever fly with a cold. Never fly with a cold. As it turns out, one of the others on the trip has some new over-the-counter sinus pills that are guaranteed to unstop your breathing passages and let you fly without any worries about the congestion. Question, should you take the medication? No. Right answer. Another scenario, you and your spouse are on a second leg of a 5-leg cross-country flight. While visiting relatives, you stayed up late at the party they threw in your honor. Ate too much, and the next morning your stomach feels sort of queasy. Your spouse, a non-pilot, offers you a common motion sickness pill prescribed by her doctor. Should you take the medication? No. Kind of a no-brainer, but however, Bob, when we were eating dinner tonight, we were talking about some of the weirdest things people do with airplanes. And I can guarantee there are people out there that will do just that, take the pill. And NTSB reports have come out many times on that very subject of what they find toxicology after they find the bodies and find out that they were on something. Okay. First, consider the underlying condition that you're treating. What will be the consequences of the medication, and if it doesn't work, or if it wears off before the flight is over. A good general rule to follow is not to fly if you must depend on the medication. That's, pretty much self-explanatory. In the Air Force, they used to make us not take anything. We couldn't even take aspirin without having a flight surgeon okay it. About 4 years before I retired from the Air Force, they changed their mind on that. They said, okay, you can take an aspirin without a flight surgeon okaying it. As long as it's just, I don't remember what the dosage was, I think it was at the most 2, but they would let you do it just before. In other words, if the untreated condition is one that would prevent safe flying, then you shouldn't fly until the condition improves, whether you take the medication or not. There's a lot of things that we do where, just like I was talking about a little bit earlier, there's just daily things that we go through, and I know that all of us, one time or another, have gone up in an airplane when you didn't quite feel fully like, aware or whatever, tired, overtired. How many here know about crew duty days? How many know that there is a crew duty day in the Aero Club? By virtue of the fact that you've got one guy over there and another. I know Richard should know that. The U.S. Air Force says there is a crew rest time period. And for some of you, Cliff talked about Jason, who flies later in the evening. And that's one of those things that Jason has to watch out for, and his students. Have you been up since 5 o'clock that morning? Take into consideration your duty day, because it all counts. And when you up and been working, whatever, that counts against your time being able to fly the airplane. That's in the Aero Club. Now, you might have, on the outside, somebody who owns their own airplane. Unfortunately, I didn't lose the friend. I didn't know him real well, but I knew the guy's family real well. And he flew all night across the United States in his 310, landed in Oakland, got gas, filled it up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then flew from there up to my hometown, up in Northern California. We didn't show up. Well, you know, they went out and did the searches and did all the kind of stuff. Finally, somebody who was doing the searches started thinking, you know, has anybody figured out, you know, they drew a line from Oakland to Willits, where my hometown is, but nobody thought about drawing the line further. So they did. They drew the line a little bit further, and the line drew into a big mountain up to the north. So they went up there, an airplane went up there, and sure enough, there he was, on the side of the mountain. NTSB report, you know, with their report said that the guy probably fell asleep. Because, you know, it's a 310, real nice, has autopilot on it. He probably took off from Oakland, set the thing autopilot on, and fell asleep. But he didn't have, forgot to set his alarm. So he got an alarm all right. So that's, you know, that's just stuff that you got to think about. Let's see. Second, you must consider the reaction to the medication. That's just common sense also. There are two broad categories of medication reaction. One is unique reaction based on the individual biological makeup. Just because Bob can take something doesn't mean that I can take it, or Cliff. All three of us may have completely different reactions to it. Most people don't have such reactions, but anyone can, given the right medication. Because of this, you should never fly after taking any medication that you have not taken before. It is not until after you have taken the medication that you will find out whether you have uncommon and unexpected reaction to the medication. They recommend 48 hours before you fly. So, third, consider potential for adverse reactions on side effects. Unwanted reactions to medication. How many here have known somebody who had bad reactions to medication? Just regular over-the-counter. I mean, I've seen it happen. Reaction. A couple of guys I knew had to go to the hospital, ER. And they actually, what happened with them is they had an allergic reaction. And so one of them almost died. One went to the hospital. You don't want that to happen while you're up flying an airplane. This type of reaction is quite common, and the manufacturer of the medication lists these on the label. Okay, you must carefully read all labeling. I know that us guys oftentimes don't. The ladies do. It's just something they like to read that. But guys cannot do that. If you don't have access to the label, then don't fly while using medication. I got a little thing here I'll show you in a second. Look for such keywords as lightheadedness, dizziness, drowsiness, or visual disturbance. If these side effects are listed on the label containing warning about operating motor vehicles or machinery, then you should not fly while using this medication. One of the things the FAA does look at is the fact that there are some medication for you are allowed to take. And but they won't let you fly until they have seen that what your reaction is to that medication. And I know when I started on blood pressure medicine, you know, I was not approved until after I had the doctor do all their, you know, look, make sure I didn't pass out or have dizziness and all that. And so, you know, once you've done that, they wanted me to do a blood pressure check for 3 years, once a year. And after that, that was it. They didn't want to, they just, as long as the flight, the FAA doctor, and I passed his, then that was fine. There is a certain point where the FAA will say, okay, you're fine. Now, some of you I know have conditions where you have to have, like once a year, and you gotta go through the FAA thing each year. And that's just something that you have to put up with, but I'll tell you what, at least you get to fly, at least you get to do that. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, most of the conditions that we have pilots flying with today would have never flown again. And that includes like the Air Force too. When we used to go in the altitude chamber, back in the old days, if you even had one little tiny incident in the altitude chamber, you were grounded. By the time I started flying with the Air Force, they had cleared that, and if you had like a problem, then you just had to get checked with the flight surgeon, make sure it didn't come back, and then they would let you fly. So over the years, Air Force, FAA, both have lightened up on a lot of this stuff. And a lot of that has to do with the way science, medical field has advanced, so. Any more questions, or any questions? Okay. Side effects can occur at any time, so even if you've taken the same medication in the past without experiencing side effects, they could still occur next time. For this reason, you must never fly after taking medication with any of the above noted side effects. That's why, you have an FAA exam. So they want to stay on top of it. And of course, there is one little caveat to all of that, and that's, Josh and I were just talking about it today, is that the FAA says, okay, you passed your physical, okay? Also, if you have basic med, where FAA never sees what your doctor put on you. Both on this one area is the same. They count on the fact that you guys are going to be honest, and if you go out to the airplane and you know you should not be flying, then you ground yourself. Doesn't matter if you have basic med or an FAA physical. There's a certain point where they can go with the FAA. I mean, I'm short of them putting a device on you and keeping track of you, which that could happen someday with the way technology is going. But right now, if they find that you've been on something after you've done something in a crash or whatever, they will test for it. And then it's on your shoulders. One of the things that we're running into and some of the problems with basic med is that some of the doctors are reluctant to do basic med. Basic med is when actually there's a video on it, but we may not be able to see it. On basic med, you can go to any doctor, your own private doctor. But some of those doctors feel that they don't want to be liable. They're afraid that if they say you're okay to fly an airplane, then you crash an airplane, they're going to be liable. Well, it's not true. It's not true at all. As a matter of fact, the FAA makes a big deal about showing that the doctor is not going to be held liable. But we still have doctors that won't do it. Okay? However, the reason why they aren't held liable is because when you sign your basic med and or you sign the paperwork with your regular doctor for a regular FAA medical, you're saying that you're going to be honest and not fly an airplane when you shouldn't be flying the airplane medically. So that's the final thing. They look at that. Somebody tries to sue your doctor or tries to sue, they just bring that out and says, no, it's on the pilot's shoulders. It's not on the doctor. So that's, any questions? Okay. We might get out early. Okay, this is just a list of normal, common things that people take. These are medications that have acceptable wait times. after the last dose. So in other words, you got allergy medications, you got muscle relaxants, over-the-counter dietary supplements. How many here on something like that? We had a guy right here in this unit here when I was in the Air Force who was taking an over-the-counter dietary, and he tests positive for heroin. And yet that he was not on heroin, he was on this diet. Air Force still kicked him out. He lost his career in the Air Force. However, he did get it back after about 5 years taking it to court, and they threw it out, and he did get a retirement, but he never flew again. Pain medications, pre-medication or pre-procedure drugs, sleep aids, any medication, prescriptions and over-the-counter and so forth. And this goes on and on. There's so many things that we take that are just over-the-counter stuff that we just go into Walgreens or any one of the drugstores and we just buy stuff. You got to be aware of it. For aviation safety, airmen should not fly following the last dose of any medication above until a period of time has elapsed. Okay, what is that? Okay, what you should do is, it's 5 times the maximum pharmacologic half-life of the medication, which should be on the label, or 5 times the maximum hour dose interval of the med half-life. Information is not, if the information is not available. In other words, if there's nothing on the label that talks about that, then you just, for example, like it has right here, for a pill that you would take every 4 to 6 hours, then there's an interval of 30 hours wait time at the pill. So that's 6 hours. So like if it says 6 hours in between the meds that you take, then there's 30 hours waiting period before you fly an airplane. Okay, does that make sense? Hope so. Okay, now, we're gonna find out if we're gonna be, the main part of this, of the safety meeting is pretty much over. If this doesn't play, it's not that big of a deal, except it makes me upset because it's such a neat thing. I don't understand why it's not playing. I have no idea. It works on every computer in the world except this one. And I don't know why. Okay, so we're not gonna see no videos tonight. Sorry about that.
I paid good money for this show.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't know why it won't play. I was hoping maybe it would have to do with this down here, but it doesn't look like it. Well, okay. Oh, okay, we don't need to see that. Okay, any questions? Again, this is John. This is before he, quit flying. Now he's back flying. He promised he wouldn't do this anymore. Okay, just real quick, we already know about this. Runway 3214 is now only 10,000 feet. And also just make sure that you read the notice before you fly, which all of you students do, because Cliff ingrains that into you guys. And read the March safetygram, which is usually hanging up to the left, on that desk right there, and it's hanging up on the next to our computer. Lately they've been good reads. They've been really, it covers usually aircraft accidents that have taken place and why they happen. So it's worth reading. So, any questions?
Yeah, just one. For those that haven't been out here lately, we'll obviously have all the new C-17s out there. There is a new restricted area. You really can't see their little red rope out there. I mean, this is a tiny little thing out there, and you can't see it. So, but next to the flight computer, we've got a little drawing of where we can taxi in and out. And I am the #1 offender. I'm the one that just about got pulled out by gunpoint by McCord's SPs, but it's just one of those, now everybody knows, but we just want to make sure if you haven't flown for a while, just ask, and we'll show you exactly the taxi route to get in and out, because it's really not obvious, because from the airplane, you cannot see that road. It just blends into the asphalt out there.
Actually, your taxi back, that afternoon was even more comical. You came around slow. That was
Yeah. Well, I did not want to get pulled over again.
You announcing that actually is ruining our entertainment in town.
It wasn't
Yeah,
bad.
I didn't feel bad because of Border Patrol, they got it the very next day.
Yeah.
And they're in uniform, armed, and they got pulled over.
It was just
For those of you talking about drugs, AOPA has a really good database, and you can go into their database and enter any drug name that you're taking, and it will tell you whether or not that drug is considered grounding by the FAA. So the actual FAA reg that lists all those things is absolutely impossible to read. So the AOPA has done a really good job of doing that for you.
Yes, they have, yeah. Okay, well, next meeting is 16 April, and we're done.